everyone, and welcome to another Star Wars Power Half Hour right here on the Contingency Plan Podcast. Oh, guys, I am really excited this week. This week we are going through issue 1 and 2 of the new Darth Vader comic, a story that has never been told until this point. Oh, man. This is one I almost missed out on too, because I believe it was when the first issue of this dropped was when I was down with a terrible flu in February or something of that nature. I could be wrong, but I just remember I was not able to get to the comic store to find this. And then a week went by and another week, and then I finally went back because of, something dropping. And looking around, I was like, oh man, they don't have any extras. So then, and this comic store I go to sometimes is nuts. All right, there's just stuff everywhere. We have 2 in town. One of them very neat, very small, but very neat, orderly. They don't order a ton of each issue, but just enough, so that I can normally get my normal issues because I never think about polls. But anyway, this other one, it's got so much more variety, so much more stock, but it is kind of like stepping into a madhouse. There's just stuff all over the place. New issues, old issues, stacks on stacks on stacks on stacks of comics on top of stacks of other things. And he does have this one Star Wars section for prior issues and everything. And I'll look through that, and I found some good stuff. But the reason why I glossed over this particular issue of the Darth Vader comic is because it is an alternate cover for the 40th anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back. So it had Luke fighting the Wampa in the cave on Hoth. And I was like, I just glossed over it. And I was like, hey, man, do you have another copy of issue 1 of the new Darth Vader comic? He's like, oh, yeah, I got one. And he knows, it's crazy. It's like a hoarder. He knows exactly where everything is. He did that with another comic, too. Shoot, what was that? Was that Rise of Kylo or... I can't remember, but he did it with another one at one point, and it was just under comics, and he knew exactly where it was. To live inside that mind would be insane to me because I don't think that way. I run across things all the time, and I don't have a ton of stuff, but I run across things. It's like, oh, there's that thing. Cool. I found it. But anyway, yeah, he pulled it out, and he was like, yeah, it's an alternate cover, but I was like, I don't care. So this series is very interesting to me. Now this is the 3rd Marvel Vader series, I want to say. I mean, there could have been more, but this is the 3rd I know of. And, I don't know. I mean, the first one I wasn't too big a fan of. The second one I did read. I think I have pretty much all of those aside from some of the late ones that I just don't have issues of, like physical copies. But it does tell some interesting stories, but this is a completely different story that we are going to jump into right now. So sit back and enjoy as we roll through this. Dark Heart of the Sith, Part 1. Darth Vader failed to turn Luke Skywalker to the dark side. Luke escaped, but now knows the truth. He is Darth Vader's son. For the first time in many years, Darth Vader's path is uncertain. So the first couple panels, we have a bit of a reenactment from Empire Strikes Back. When Vader reveals that he is Luke's father, cuts off his hand, and Luke falls as Vader looks on. So Vader returns to the ship. Everybody is quite scared. We see Death Troopers. That they're really trying to get these Death Troopers in here. Vader commandeers a shuttle, and he's leaving. He's not even staying on the ship. He has a forensic droid show up to assist. And we actually have the Emperor, just before he goes to leave, reaching out to talk to Vader. And this is Admiral Piet. The Emperor requests that Lord Vader immediately make contact. Yes, Grand Visor, just one moment. Lord Vader, this is Admiral Piet. We received a message from... That's Lord Vader's shuttle. And he's gone. Admiral Piet, I'm afraid Lord Vader is currently unavailable. And then we turn to Palpatine. Is he now? And he starts laughing. So on the shuttle, Vader tinkers a bit with our forensic droid. If you ever reveal what you learn on this mission, you will self-destruct. And this droid's a little sassy. You know how I am about sassy droids. I think we make a little bit too... He's kind of like a cross between like a sassy droid and C-3PO. So I find him super annoying. Like for me, I just find him super annoying. But let's see here. The droid looks up Luke Skywalker. I will find him again when the time is right. For now, we will track down everyone who hid the boy from me. Everyone who made him weak. And destroy them. So where's the first place they go? Tatooine. We do have looks like a couple pirates here that see Vader's shuttle and look like they want to try and make a couple bucks off of that. So Vader meets the commander of this outpost here. They go instantly to a terminal, essentially just looking up information on Luke, and wind up going to the Lars homestead. Now, this comic has a lot of flashbacks to old scenes as they go into the home of Klieg Lars and his wife, Shmi Skywalker. And again, we're seeing the first flashback is Shmi when right before Anakin leaves, be brave and don't look back. And then we have a flashback to Owen and Beru. Where are you going? To find my mother. And this is when they come back when Shmi was taken, and he briefly sees the young Owen and Beru. At some point, Owen and Beru adopted a child named Luke Skywalker. There's little in the official record about the lad, but he was known for his affinity for flying. Let's see here. And, you see Vader kind of going through some of Luke's tools. And again, more flashbacks to Anakin working on things in this very area. Life seems so much simpler when you're fixing things. I'm good at fixing things. I always was. As Padme brings him some nice little PB&J and a glass of blue milk. All the essential nutrients for a growing boy. They check out the lubrication vat, which obviously in A New Hope, C-3PO is lowered down in, and our forensic droid makes a remark, it's non-functional. Looks like, Tusken Raiders might have smashed it. And then again, another flashback. They're like animals, and I slaughtered them like animals. I hate them. And then Padme, to be angry is to be human, trying to comfort him. And then again, flashback. We have Yoda, and these are all in red. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Padme, come away with me. Help me raise our child. Leave everything else behind while we still can. Anakin, we don't have to run anymore. I have brought peace to the Republic. I am more powerful than the Chancellor. I can overthrow him, and together you and I can rule the galaxy. And then Luke, come with me. It is the only way. Back to Padme. I don't believe what I'm hearing. And then he has this visual of Luke falling down the tunnel, and then Shmi, and then Padme all falling down the same tunnel. And of course, Vader's still a mask, so we don't get the emotions on his face, but what he's thinking, he's reliving these things from his past, and I truly do think it haunts him. And this is, possibly just the start of the conflict, which eventually resolves in Episode 6. They uncover the graves of Klieg and Shmi. We have another little flashback when Anakin buried her. I wasn't strong enough to save you, Mom. I wasn't strong enough, but I promise I won't fail again, as Padme looks on. So I believe this is the station commander or some Imperials on a speeder are coming through calling for Vader. They are blown up. That ship that we talked about with our pirates zaps them. And they see Vader walking out of the flames. And this is, again, a great display of Vader's power, pulling the ship to the ground, slicing off one of the wings, and making short work of the pirates, killing them all as they exit the ship. The droid, perfect. Are we done then? No, droid. We've only just begun. So now Vader's on Coruscant, and he goes to Padme's old apartment, which is sealed by a rather angry-looking Padme face, which I find weird, but sure, whatever. Vader cracks through that. He sort of has a vision of kissing Padme in that apartment. And let's see here. Only her most trusted allies could have known she was pregnant and stolen the boy before she died. Did they bring her here? Did they leave a trace? Alas, I cannot confirm one way or another because the security recordings for the time period directly after her reported death are missing. But the droid does find a little scout transmitter, and that leads us to a scene on a planet called Vendaxa, as some interesting squid creatures are attacking Gungans. You gotta evac! Not without the crew. Crew's gone! As they take the last Gungan, and a shadowy figure continues to fight these fanged squid monsters. And present day, so we have Vader coming in, and he's slicing squid monsters. It's real good. And then he is stared down by Padme? What a panel. What a panel, man. It's Padme lookalike. Did Padme really die? Did she really die of a broken heart? Well, we got to wait till episode 2, issue 2, which we're going to talk about right now. Right now. So part 2. Darth Vader revealed the truth. He is Luke Skywalker's father, but Luke refused to join him and escaped. Enraged, Vader has taken a squad of death troopers and the Imperial forensics droid ZED or Z-67 on a quest of revenge against everyone who hid Luke from him. Vader's bloody journey led him from Tatooine to Padme Amidala's abandoned apartment on Coruscant, and now he stands face to face with a ghost from his past. Does Padme somehow live? Again, a little bit more flashbacks here to start off. And this was episode 2 as they were fighting off the beasts and before being let out. So don't be afraid. I'm not afraid to die. I've been dying a little bit each day since you came back into my life. I love you. You love me? I thought we decided not to fall in love. That we would be forced to live a lie. That it would destroy our lives. I think our lives are about to be destroyed anyway. Padme. The woman here then says, "What did you call me?" Yes, the similarity is astonishing. She seems to be the same age as Senator Amidala would be if she were still alive. Superficial scans reveal a similar bone structure. She even wears Naboo-style field gear. And who are you? Why, this is Darth Vader, the Emperor's... Oh, and then as she kind of fires on Vader, Vader stops the bolt and takes the rifle from her. Who are you? You said it yourself. I'm Padme Amidala. Queen, Senator, daughter of Naboo, back from the dead to haunt you to your grave. and he starts to choke her. And then again, we get flashbacks to when he choked her in episode 3. No one dares threaten Lord Vader, should hope to. Lord Vader, she's... As, Vader kind of drops her, and it looks like he's struggling here. And this quote, Padme, gets away. And here come the squid, fanged squid creatures. They attack Vader, but he's able to pretty easily dispatch them as he follows this quote Padme down into, I don't know, a lower level. Who are you? Tell me. Don't be afraid. And then she says, just like Padme, I'm not afraid. I'm angry. I see it now. Padme is dead, but you wear her face, speak with her voice. You're the Queen's shadow, a handmaiden from Naboo. And so we learn this is Sabe. And if I remember correctly, she was definitely in Queen's shadow. I don't remember. I really need to go back and reread that book because it was one of my favorite recent ones, Queen's Shadow. If you guys haven't read that book and you need a recommendation, I would definitely recommend that. We also have Queen's Peril that'll be coming up in June, I believe. But that's E.K. Johnson, and I have a lot of love for that book and a lot of love for E.K.'s writing. But anyway, so that whole book was kind of centered around the handmaidens and, after she became a senator and how they were still very useful after there. And then Queen's Peril is going to be more of her time as the Queen of Naboo. But anyway, so yes, we find out that this is Sabe. She's been, at this outpost. Let's see here. So the droid, of course, let me just cross-reference my Imperial databanks. She's Sabe, the Queen's double, just a shade taller than Padme, slightly more pronounced jaw. As Sabe raises her blaster to the droid, again annoying. And Vader, years ago on Coruscant, you broke into Padme's quarters. You wanted to find out what happened to her. What did you learn? What kind of game is this? Padme fell, and the Emperor ascended. He killed her, didn't he? She phrased it as a question, which indicates she lacks the evidence for her implied accusation. Vader basically calls for silence. Before Padme died, she was stolen away. Whoever hid her betrayed the Empire. That doesn't make any sense. She stood with the Jedi, not the... If Padme had lived, she would have stood with the Empire. That's insane. Did you even know her? She would never have... In the name of the Emperor, I will find whoever hid her, and I will destroy them. After all these years, why would the Emperor care? Why do you? These people who you said hid her, you think they killed her? You serve Padme. You want revenge as well. But you fear me. Good. Let that fear guide you. I will always triumph. If you serve me, so will you. Together, we can find them. And we see Sabe kind of let off a shot and that hits one of our little tentacled friends here. And it's kind of crazy. Basically, Sabe is joining Darth Vader, the handmaiden who would have known Anakin Skywalker, probably would have intimately knew about the probably would have knew about the relationship too. She's literally right there with Anakin and doesn't know it. And she doesn't even know the truth about how Padme died. And now she's fighting with Anakin, in this case Darth Vader, to find revenge. It's insane. It's so crazy. So crazy. And you have, again, some parallel panels. Padme fighting on Geonosis. Sabe cracking the head of one of these squid things. Anakin and Padme fighting off together, and then again, the same frame. Padme looking up lovingly at Anakin, and then Sabe kind of stealing a glance at Vader as he says, "You fought well. Now come. We leave at once." Well, here, Sabe shows a little bit of humanity. She wants to bury her compatriots, the people who fought with her. They actually sort of make the droid do it, which I'm not designed for this. Let's see. They were good soldiers, and the droid chimes in, and rebels and traitors, if my scans are correct. Let's not forget that. They were good soldiers who walked with me at Padme's funeral. And they will be mourned, not like you, Lord Vader, and not like me. Now come, so you can serve your emperor, and I can have my vengeance. As she sort of marches towards. So, the funny thing is like, the handmaidens were actually a lot like Padme. They were all very similar. I mean, they had their own personalities, likes, dislikes, and everything, but they all commanded the room, because at any point, Sabe could have been the queen or the senator. She could have flip-flopped, so they knew each other intimately well. They had to be commanding. They had to be strong. They had to, be able to face adversity with the toughest face they could. So she's going to come off a little bit like Padme, even though she isn't. We knew if we didn't have the full story of her death, or we knew we didn't have the full story of her death. So yes, after the funeral, we went to Coruscant and we broke into Padme's quarters. And I stole the chamber security recordings. I thought there must be some clue there, some hint of who really killed her, but I was never able to decrypt them. But then the Empire showed its true colors, and our strength was required elsewhere. So until we had the resources to take up the search again, we hid the recordings on Naboo. As Vader has one last little vision here of his wedding. And again, Padme saying, "Don't be afraid." And Vader, "I'm not afraid. I'm angry." Whew. Man, oh man. Well, we have the. I assume this should be at least one of the cover arts for issue 3. Vader holding up his lightsaber back to back with Sabe, and man, it's just so crazy that. It's so crazy that, Sabe's obviously been a little out of touch. She's obviously a little out of touch. She doesn't really know the current state of things. I mean, teaming up with Vader is wild. And the fact that I actually think I've thought about this before. I don't remember if we ever talked about it on a show, but the possibility of the handmaidens surviving. I mean, there were definitely a few that were killed, but there were several others who weren't. I mean, I even think, if I remember correctly, in Queen's Shadow, there was 1 or 2 that stayed on Naboo. They didn't go with her when she became a senator. So they're definitely out there. These are all lookalikes. Now one of them is fighting with Padme's former husband, and unfortunately the man who killed her. And Vader is using her to track down all of the things, all of the people that, quote, turned his son weak because his son wouldn't join him. Now, this comic is interesting, probably far more interesting to me because of the lead-in to Empire, or to Return of the Jedi. Vader turned in that movie. He turned back to the light side, took out the Emperor. Was it all Luke? Or was it the slow chipping away, the erosion? And this is what Luke felt in him, the conflict. The conflict that his father had. This mission with Sabe, seeing his old home, flashbacks of his mother, of his wife, of good times, bad times, loss, love. And then his son comes and he knows there's conflict in him. Everything is on the table here, folks. Everything is on the table. So this might seem like a small comic to people, but it's big because, again, I think it builds that conflict. When we kind of went through the last Charles Soule Vader comic, we saw directly after Revenge. And after he was strucken down, and after he was encased in this mechanical suit, and his pursuits after that, even going so much as using the Force against the Emperor because of his anger at Padme's death. And he was so driven to become this dark side wheel, this Sith, helping his Emperor to rule the galaxy. And then now, again, he meets his son. Join me. I am your father. Join me. And his son won't. And in this second, he thinks he's weak. Who weakened him along the way? Destroy the attachments. Destroy the past. Burn it if you must. Right? Whew. I feel scared for Sabe. Okay. I feel scared for Sabe. She could possibly be going down a trail that she either cannot come back from or could be her last trail. Because at the end of the day, how tortured is Vader if you were to think about Padme, and now you literally have somebody that looks exactly like her, that was her in a sense, a big part of her. Oh, man, it's trippy. It's trippy to even see a handmaiden, especially in this comic. But I think it's one of the coolest tie-ins that I've seen in a while from a comic book. I mean, we're literally like. I remember turning the panel in the prior issue. I was like, oh, Padme. At first I was thinking, is it a ghost or something, or some sort of like projection left by somebody to screw with Vader, or the Emperor laughed. Maybe it was another test from him, but no, it's Sabe. And that actually brings into another question. How much of this does the Emperor know? Because when he called for Vader, Vader's not here. Oh, is he? I think he sees his thoughts. I think he sees this as an opportunity to draw forth more anger, more of the dark side in Vader, cement his servant. I mean, just think of if he were to kill Sabe in the same manner as Padme, or just kill her in general. Would he be able to be redeemed? Would he be able to turn back to the light? I don't know. So I guess the running bet is does Sabe survive? Does she survive? I think that's a major question. Who else, if anybody, will we meet? We're going back to Naboo. Oh my God, wait a minute. I swear they put one Gungan in there. We technically know Jar Jar would be alive because he was alive in the Aftermath series. Like, what if Jar Jar just runs into Vader? Oh, me so sorry. Me so clumsy. And then, oh my God. Little Annie, is that you? You've grown up? Oh, geez. Wouldn't that be a trip? And heck, could there be another? I mean, we could see more handmaidens. Possibly, right? Going to Naboo, we could see more. And that would be epic as well. That would be epic. Well, anyway, folks, I think I've yacked enough. Our half hour is just about up. This is when I actually kept in the half hour. I'll go over with my closing here, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I think that this series has so much potential to be a great series for the Star Wars universe. If you haven't picked these up, make sure to. I would definitely pick these up out of anything. I think it's exciting. I definitely think that it has great potential. And And heck, it could tell a really cool story that's never been told before. I'm telling you, this might be a real epic thing. So again, hopefully you enjoyed. Glad to be back to the Power Half Hour with you guys. So you guys have a great rest of your week. And as always, may the Force be with you.